The great time draws near. Today, monster ecology within the ring of fire. And this monster ecology will be drawn from the pages of this tome, Saga Book, the book that prepares you for your epic exploration of the terrain of Kvegathale and the realms beyond. And their story, this story, starts in one of those realms beyond the lands of flesh. It takes place in the dreamland, in its beginning. But before we enter those nebulous astral vistas, allow us to begin with where they are today in the world. Now, to the west, they are known as the Ophar, the hated arch-nemeses of the Freyin, and they are disdained so greatly in the land of the sun that to see one there would clearly mean certain death for them. To the rest of the world over in Kvegathale, they are known as wolf fairies, a reputation that implies the savagery of nightmare and terror, and a reputation well earned and deserved in fear and blood. The wolf fairies live in the largest forest in the world, and in this forest their tribes roam, a forest of tall pine trees that are packed closely together to a preternatural level, but a canopy of darkness that is perpetual. In this world, they are masters, they are hunters, they are feared. And in that fear, they are known as the Meehan-ghe, which is a Jiren for the only true Fae. They are fairies. They are the first fairies. Now, let's go back to dreams, spun sweetly out there by Opiate, the Liege of Dreams, one of the parents of Ajira, the god that made the Meehan-ghe. Now, on a long night, late into the night, Ajira, spreading nightmares about Kvegathale, encountered one of its parents, the Liege of Dreams, Opiate. And Opiate was creating the body she, the perfect spun astral form. And as its child, Ajira came to it. Opiate said, "Look upon this perfect form that I have made." And Opiate told Ajira of its plans for the Fae, for the fairies, for creatures that existed ever so slightly, perpetually between two worlds, between a land of dreams and a land of flesh. And Opiate gave this body unto Ajira with instructions to take something of the natural world, of the world of flesh, and something of the ephemeral, of the emotional, and invest these two elements, as only a god may do, into this dream-spun body. And upon so doing this, Ajira created the first Fae by infusing them with the blood of the wolf and with the essence of fear. They are unto the world living nightmares. Unto each other, they are the most loyal of all species throughout Kvegathale. In fact, their loyalty extends so strongly, as does their trust to their tribes, men and women, that their reliance upon each other is unquestioning. There are many sages throughout the world that look upon them and think that they share a collective hive mind. It was not the case. They are merely so in tune with each other and their environment that they work as a perfect machine. Those goals, those ends, those aims may well be to tear up to the nightmares, but they are far more diverse species than simply that. Of course, they have existed for many, many cycles. And in those times, tribes have come and tribes have gone. And many tribes have ventured out from that dark forest of fear. There are tribes that exist far to the south, far past the borders of Epiphanul. They exist in Katik, in the great desert of ash, burying themselves during the day, during the hateful rays of light, inside the sand, and existing there, and falling into worship of Mbira, of Atash, of rain clouds and storm thunder, of hunting death, serving as living cyclopomps and emissaries of the rain to a dry land, though even there they are locked in internal conflict and struggle with their nemesis, the Freyim. For when two things are so close together, like opposite sides of a lake, it's hard to tell which one is really the reflection and which one is real, if either at all, as they eternally stare back at one another with hatred in their eyes, yet a soul, oh, so similar. And we see these great wars wage since the inceptions of these species. The wolf fairy, as one might understand, are very close to the animal that shares their name. In fact, wolves throughout Kvegathale are not regarded, perhaps, as the way one in a modern world might look at them. They are regarded as every bit the evil sorts of creatures that one may think of them in a forest in Europe 2,000 years ago. They are things of nightmares. There are no dogs. There is no breeding of such things. These are not companions. These are minions and made nightmare, a form of flesh. Some wolves at Kvegathale are so large that Meehan-ghe, even taller than humans, though of a live build, may ride upon them, not in the fashion a human would ride a horse. Not that there are any horses in Kvegathale. The Meehan-ghe are excellent hunters, skillful bowmen, and above all else, they produce the finest poetry in the world. Their tongue is not harsh and caustic to the ears, but beautiful, sad, wondrous, and poetic. And in this tongue, poetry the likes of which no other species has ever been able to craft has been produced. And even many of their detractors will credit them with a tremendous degree of skill and artistic soul. After all, they are fairies, and the fairies are things that exist closer to art than you and I, being humans, would ever be able to understand. But do not misunderstand. The Fae are not light, gentle creatures. Not all of them. These are Fae spun in darkness. They are terrifying. They hunt their victims down, and their favorite flesh is other sapient species. Though they are not cannibals, they will not eat one another. They will eat you. They love the taste of the fraying blood. They move very fast, and they like to track their prey down, taunting them, allowing them to know they are there, and then disappearing into the darkness, only to reappear as the blood heightens, as the fear continues to rise, as the adrenaline races and the heart beats faster and faster, and those sounds entice the Meehan-ghe into a near sexual frenzy. At least it will appear that way to other species, as they smell their quarry, as they chase them, as they experience the feel of terror, the secretions of their sweat, the panting of their lungs as the quarry pushes itself to the edge of its speed, while the Meehan-ghe easily stays behind it. Those foolish enough to venture into the dark wood will rarely come out, for it is very dark there. The Meehan-ghe have eyes, and they watch and they hunt, and they raid out of their lands to find fraying meat, human meat. They have long canines, much like those of a wolf, jaws that extend far larger than ours would, long pointed ears, and features that are beautiful to behold. Imagine a creature alluring and erotic, beautiful and poetic, that wants to eat you. His long fangs can outrun you, can stay upon you for hours, can taunt you from the darkness. It will come for you. And it will not come alone, it will come as a pack. And they hunt. They eat what they kill. But they live in accordance with the laws of the wood. They are not wasteful. They are not greedy. They revere their home. They do not chop down the wood. They live, oddly enough, in a near perfect sort of purity, though their purity is an ominously dark thing. Still, there are some that have come out of this hunting stage, and they are quite carnivorous, loving the taste of blood, particularly when it is laced with tremendous amounts of their victim's fear. There are those who are beginning to live in the emerging city-states throughout Kvegathale. Of course, outside of the lands of Rodelin, where they will not be accepted. In these city-states, they often find homes where a warrior, a hunter, or an artist may be well used. There are places for them among civilization, and some of them are beginning to find these things out. Many went only as agents, as spies, and positions of espionage for the court of darkness and for the armies that Shadow commands. Still, being about the multicultural experience that slowly is beginning to encroach upon the world, and the largest of metropolises, such as the great city of trade. In places like this, the wolf fairies begin to see that there is a bit more to life, other options and avenues of which one might pursue, and some of these find them most interesting. And they are scattered throughout Ipifnul, in the lands of Niflin, where they endure frozen tundras and hunt in these Arctic-like terrains in the center of the world, far away from the flames of Morgul. They hunt upon mountain slopes and woodlands, or to the south in Katik, where they dwell among ancient crumbling ruins, those who did not return to the forest during the end of the Shadow Purge, when Aramon nearly took the world to be its own, and by its own, clearly, I mean annihilated, ended, eradicated. For that is the want of darkness itself, as it leers down from the heavens with two eyes that are always full, pale moons that look down hungrily upon the world. And this is the other half of the lineage that Ajira draws: annihilation and darkness, hungry, hateful moonlight and dreams. And it is these two things, the synthesis, that creates the flesh of the Meehan-ghe. Like most fairies, they do not sleep, but enter a state where their mind becomes receptive to a meditative calm and tranquility as they extend themselves into that other world. They dwell there on the edge of the cusp of nightmare, seeking to elicit what they can from that world that is so beautiful to them. Many of them even becoming dream walkers, so they may step past the sacred bonds of your mind into the labyrinth of your dreams, and haunt you and plague you and taunt you and inspire those nightmares inside you so that they may drain them, that they may do horrible things in the name of Ajira. Yet, not all of them come to such ways. There, in those southern deserts, the desert of ash, they follow Fatash, the goddess of rain, attempting to bring rain to those deserts, still locked in an eternal struggle with the Freyin of that desert, who revere Phoenix as the thunderbirds crash with the flame-winged birds there in those heavens, above that gray desert. And they worship Emberia there. It's the tribe of the jackals. And there are many tribes of Meehan-ghe, for they organize themselves in such ways. Even now, just before the beginning of the cycles, you will tell A new tribe has arisen. The red caps have come from the tribe of ravenousness. Following the new prophet of Laku, they are doomed upon the spire, the tallest point of the world, the point to which all that is Kvegathale is joined in an elemental union cast long ago by troll lords. There they are baptized, and their problems with light are washed away. Their eyes are lit anew as their hair becomes bright blood red, and these fae extend in the presence of the Lord of Dusk for a new war that is surely lurking on the horizon. There are many, 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 many options with this species, but what must be understood, they are very dark, and there are many, many things that they will do. So they are predators, and when you are about them, you will know that you are not but food.